are now done with routing the truss rod slot. So at this point, most of these things on the neck can be done in a slightly different order, but the truss rod slot was really the one thing we needed to do, especially before we put the peg head veneers on, because that would alter the way that this sat on the routing table and probably the way that it bumped up the fence as well. Now that we're done, we can shape our peg head, we can get the angle correct on here, we can do several things, but I am going to take care of the neck angle right now. It doesn't have to be done in that order, but that's what I'm going to do next. So we're going to take a look at calculating the neck angle and getting that set and getting the mortise and tenon bolts in. So let's take a look. Now, when we talk about neck angle, we are talking about the angle that the neck sits in relation to this part of the guitar that we have nice and flat. And most likely that's going to end up around somewhere between 88 to 90 degrees, but we will figure that out more precisely right now. The things that we need to figure out are, where is our saddle? So where's our saddle going to be inside that bridge down here? We are going to get our saddle location by taking our total scale length and subtracting the nut to 14th fret. Now, we have a total of 645.16 millimeters for our total scale. And if you remember, we are at 357.77 from the nut to the guitar body, or the 14th fret. And so if we take that 645.16 minus 357.77, we have 287.39 millimeters, which is going to get us from the neck back here to our saddle. But we also want to account for some compensation, which we will get to later, but we're going to add about 2 millimeters for that. So we're going to end up at 289.39 from here to here. So let's get that measure. We're going to do that right on the center line. 289.39, and getting that 0.39 is going to be a little tricky, right? All right, 289. We want to look for about 3.5 millimeters right here. Here is our saddle location, and what we want to imagine is if we had a line coming off of our neck straight through this top part, hitting here, what is this gap here? We want about 3.5 millimeters right here. Now you can take that with a ruler, or if you have a shim, which I do, made a shim especially for this, that is where I sit it. If I didn't have the shim, I would have to have one hand here measuring it and get another hand back here and try to measure this and get this angle. So if you can get a shim and shave one down to 3.5 millimeters, it works out much better. So what I want to do is figure out what this gap is. I do want to have a little bit of air right here, right at this leading edge of the sound hole. And the way I can measure that is by finding something that has some sort of measurable thickness. Cardstock, heavy fiber paper, maybe one of your veneers, one of your very thin veneers. And I will put that right there. So I'll slide it back along the ruler or my straight edge until I feel that there's some resistance there. And I don't want to force it underneath and artificially force this end up. I just want to see where that's where that tension is, where that's tight. and then I will mark it with a pencil. And in this case, it is right along that outer edge of the purfling, so it's super easy to keep track of. I will take my sliding bevel. I'll use this to find my angle so that I can duplicate it on the neck. I'm going to put my piece of fiber exactly where I had marked it before. I have that angle in place. Tighten the bevel down, and that looks to be just under 90 degrees on the back, just a little bit. So let's take a look. Here is our cutoff line right there, which means all this is waste, right? So that still has to get cut off. And then this 7/8 here is our tenon. That means that this is going to be our shoulder line, which is where I want to put the measurement for the new neck angle, which we just got. I'm going to lay that on top of the neck. Hopefully you can see that this angle is just under 90 degrees. So it's probably around 89, 88 and a half, somewhere around there. What it isn't exactly important. It's not vital to know the precise angle, but it is vital to repeat that angle from the neck joint over to the neck so we can get this correct. You should have gotten something that looks like these. Now these are going to be the mortise and tenon nuts and bolts. So these barrels are going to go into the tenon here, well, about there, and here. And then the bolts slide through the guitar body, through the tenon, into the tenon, and hold it like this. Now in order to get these in, we are going to drill some holes into the tenon straight down through it. I measure about 1 1/8 inches from the top of the neck. There. And there. And the reason that I want to get the neck angle prior to putting these in is so that I don't end up with a hole that's too far out, and especially here. If this neck angle was too drastic this way, then I would have to move this tenon back to match it, because I don't want this nut sticking too far towards the end of the tenon, because the grain that's out here is relatively weak, because that's going to be end grain that the stress is on, and it's just not as strong as the long grain. So we want to have this pretty far back towards this shoulder line, and I keep mine about 2 millimeters off, which means that if these are 10 millimeters wide, which is what we're going to drill. So the radius is 5 millimeters from the center, plus 2, so that's 7 millimeters. So I'm going to measure at these 1 1/8 inch lines here and here, 7 millimeters off of the shoulder, and that's where I'm going to put my center line for drilling these. So that's going to be here. And here. And let's take a look, just double check. Yeah, that looks about right. I don't need to get right up close to this line, because that's going to potentially impact the shoulder and could ding it, put a notch in it. I don't want to do that. I want this shoulder line to be nice and crisp and clean when it meets that guitar body. So this looks good to me. The final measurement on my neck height plus my heel cap, I usually put it just below where the purfling line is on the back, so that it's not quite even with the back of the guitar, but there's a little bit of a step here, maybe 4 millimeters or so, just so that the neck comes just under the purfling line. If I cut this somewhere in the middle of the binding, that will leave me enough room to come back, sand this a little bit more, put a heel cap on, and get my final. So if I cut this off now, I can get rid of some of this excess material, and then I don't have to deal with it when we are in the mortise and tenon jig as well. So I'm going to take this off, I'm going to take this material off, and I am going to drill these holes. Now I am also going to take off this line here, this extra material on the front, so be sure you don't cut back here on this tenon line, or the shoulder line I should say. Only cut up right here, not here. Make sure that you have 357.77 from the front of the nut out to this 14th fret line, and 7/8 of an inch in front of that for our tenon. So 357.77 from the nut to the 14th fret, and 7/8 of an inch in front of that for the tenon. Double check that before we cut this off. If you cut it back here or have something screwed up on your scale length and you cut this, you're going to have to make a new neck. So let's not do that. I just double checked everything. I'm good. I'm going to cut off this excess and then get outside to the drill press to drill these. Okay, now we are going to drill these barrel nut holes for the tenon joint, and we are going to use a 10mm drill bit. You can use a 3/8, but you'll end up having to ream it out quite a bit. We may still have to a little bit with the 10, but it's going to be much closer and much more accurate. Now, we do not have to go all the way through, and as a matter of fact, most drill presses, if you're using one, and a drill press is going to be much more accurate than a hand drill, but the drill press is not going to go all the way through and punch out the other side, but that's okay. We don't need it to. All we need it to do is come down and get through this tenon, so somewhere around here, which most drill presses will get to, and we just need to get past that center line right around here to get that through the other side of the tenon. And then once we route out the tenon, you'll see that that hole is exposed just fine. I've got my marks. I'm using a brad point bit. With a drill press, it's a little less critical with the brad point, but I still like to use one to line up my holes better, and it just lets that bit track better. Now the last thing I want to touch on in this video is the heel cap. So what I'm doing right now is just bringing this shoulder line all the way across. This allows me to get a better look at what this heel shape, heel pattern is going to look like where the heel cap goes. This heel cap, I mean, you can make this heel just about any shape that you want. You can do a kind of a D shape. You can do one that is super pointed. You can do one that's really wide and flat. I mean, you can really do just about anything you want. The considerations are that you want it to be at least 7/8 wide, so that you can get wider than your tenon. I like it just a little bit wider than that. And about an inch deep at least. I go a little bit further, 1.1/8 to at least start with. And I may make that smaller, bigger, you know, can make changes really anytime you want. But this allows me to at least get a good look here and see what kind of shape I'm looking at here. On this, you can come back in, you know, come in and back out. That gets a little too extreme on something this short. We want to be sure that we don't cut into this blank. We can come right up to it, just leave ourselves a couple millimeters at least. So we want to go from here to about here. There we go. I'm good with that. And then I'll cut this out on the bandsaw. And you don't need a bandsaw to do this. You can do this with a handsaw. If you do just use a handsaw, one technique is to just make like a cut here, cut here, cut here, and almost like a feather board. You just keep cutting into it like that, and you can chip those out, or you can make a big straight cut up here and a big straight cut up here, chisel it, carve it, and you actually don't need to do any of this right now. I just like to give myself a little bit less work when it comes to shaping the neck. And if I don't have to take a file or a rasp or something and chunk out all this material, that's much better. So I'm going to cut this on the bandsaw, and then we will move on. Taking all this out with a file or a rasp or sandpaper would be a lot of work. I just want to avoid that. Now we've got our holes for our the nuts for the mortise. We've got our peg head thickness. We've got the truss rod slot. We've got the heel somewhat shaped. We've got quite a bit done thus far. Now next we are going to take a look at actually machining the mortise and tenon. So we're going to be making the mortise inside the guitar body and the tenon on here. So let's get onto that in the next video.